My name is Robert Opp. I am the Chief Digital Officer for the United Nations Development Program. UNDP, we work with 170 countries worldwide, and in most of those countries we're engaged in some sort of support on digital transformation. For us, digital public infrastructure, the approach, is really a key part of digital transformation of countries themselves, because it really looks at how do we accelerate the role of digital technologies in delivering public services or making different kinds of things possible when it comes to how governments set up the kind of rails, the digital rails of societies. So digital public infrastructure is really a central part of the way that we think about supporting countries in those national digital journeys, which ultimately are for their national development as well. There's some really interesting examples coming out of the continent. I think one very recent example is what South Africa has done in the last year in the initiative around Mzansi, which is for us really exciting to see how in South Africa's leadership of this issue, really bringing this platform out to the public, but doing that in a way that is consulting with the constituencies across society. So civil society and private sector and all of the other actors have been brought in to look at how do we ensure that as we roll out this system, which is focused on delivering efficient public services to people over a mobile platform, how do we make sure that's safe? How do we make sure data is protected? How do we make sure all people are included in that? And so it's a really interesting and very recent example. Yeah, I think the first thing to say is artificial intelligence, there's no question. We believe that it has huge potential to accelerate progress on development overall. So the Sustainable Development Goals globally, national development goals, and so on. There is an application that we start, or many applications that we start to see that you can connect artificial intelligence with digital public infrastructure platforms and technologies that are there. I think it's safe to say that we're still in the early part of the journey around that. So it's not like we can today look at DPI and say there's significant acceleration from AI, but it is on everyone's mind. Essentially, we just have to think of it like any other sector or any other industry or any other part of society where digital public infrastructure, efficiency, effectiveness, we hope, can be enhanced by applying AI. And that might be, for example, in being able to have stronger or better data analytics that inform the way that we deliver public services. Other aspects of artificial intelligence and how it applies to digital public infrastructure could be, simply making our credentialing better when it comes to how digital ID interacts with different parts of or sectors in society, financial services or government services. There's just many, many applications, but we are at the beginning, and we have to acknowledge that capacity to use these types of technologies is still quite limited. So at the same time as we're getting really excited about AI, we have to understand we're going to have to invest in the capacities and capabilities of people and institutions to actually embrace it effectively. Well, I hope that people take away that digital public infrastructure as an approach overall is something that we can really, really accelerate the progress of national development, that it is kind of the centerpiece for a lot of digital transformation, and most importantly, that it puts people at the center. If we do not have people at the center of our application of technology, it is not going to include everyone, it is not going to build trust, it is ultimately not going to deliver on the promise that it holds.